I'm here with Bill Gates at Davos at an event to unveil a new initiative that you're excited about that's dealing with vaccines. Tell us a little bit about the problem you're trying to solve and the solution that you've got to work towards to work toward that solving here.
Well, we always have to worry that a new epidemic is going to come along.
Yeah.
A flu epidemic that could go global, something like the Ebola epidemic, which we were lucky was confined to a few countries, but still caused immense health and economic damage. And people often ask, well, can't we just generate a vaccine very quickly, get it out there? And unfortunately, it takes many years to do a completely new vaccine. The design, the safety reviews,
Costs,
the manufacturing, all those things mean that an epidemic can be very widespread before that tool would come along. And so after Ebola, the global health community talked a lot about this, including a new type of vaccine platform called DNA-RNA that should speed things along. And so this Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Initiative, CEPI, is 3 countries, Japan, Norway, Germany, and 2 foundations, Wellcome Trust, who we work with on a lot of things, and our foundation, Gates Foundation, coming together to fund actually trying to use that platform and make some vaccines, and so that would help us in the future.
we're trying to do some kind of early intervention with vaccines, so to speak, identify promising candidates, get them some capital to help them develop, have a better awareness of what's out there, what needs to be out there.
Right, so we'll pick some particular threats like MERS and see if we can't quickly get a vaccine for that. And even if we don't pick the problem, the development of this platform and going through that will cut the lead time a lot. And if we can get it down below a year, the quicker the better.
Yeah.
We showed through some simulation that every week you gain can make a dramatic difference.
What have you learned a little bit watching this, thinking about the problems through Ebola and vaccine, and Zika, of our exposure to the risk of a pandemic, particularly a global pandemic? I mean, have you dug more deeply on this problem in general the last few years, and that's informing what you're doing here, I guess?
Well, I think anybody who comes to global health learns about the 1917 Spanish flu epidemic that killed an unbelievable number of people, and there is a chance of something like that happening again, and that's 1,000 times worse than Ebola. So there have been flu scares, but nothing at that level. But we always worry, will that happen? And the world isn't as prepared, not going through simulations of these things, talk about it.
Yeah.
Like all global problems, getting the right cooperation of who should provide the resources and how would responsibility be assigned. It's not easy to solve, but the formation of CEPI shows that people care about this, and there's a piece of this that CEPI will make a big contribution to.
Talking about getting people involved, let me just ask broadly, of course, you've got this anti-vaccine movement out there a little bit broadly, and it has different moments. Is that an impediment to what you're trying to do, or is that a concern for you more broadly? Do people still, are people taking vaccines as seriously as they need to be taking them, given the threat that's out there right now?
Well, vaccines are very important, and since the beginning of vaccines, getting the word out that they should be used, and they're very well safety tested. It's always been a challenge, whether in rich countries, poor countries, and rumors that are false can spread more rapidly than the truth about the scientific evidence. There certainly are cases where, because kids didn't get vaccines, there were not only sickness but deaths from things like pertussis and measles. So, always explaining the value of vaccines is very worthwhile.
But in some ways, it's getting harder to do with technology information than it maybe it used to be, because information and misinformation both spread so fast these days. It's a unique challenge that wasn't there before.
Well, it's true. We have a higher vaccination coverage today than ever in the history of the world. So although bad information in some geography can be a setback, overall, people are seeing how many lives have been saved, and we do a good job of combining the vaccines and making it clear to parents when they should bring their kids in, strengthening these primary healthcare systems. So overall, the vaccine story is one of the most positive ones there is.
You mentioned MERS. Are there particular illnesses that you're seeking to focus on aggressively that you can talk about beyond that, where you see potential to make some inroads here quickly? Are there particular areas you're thinking about?
Well, CEPI is specifically focused on epidemic risk, and hopefully the U.S., China, and others are investing in the flu risk. CEPI has picked three. MERS, Nipah, and Lassa, I think, are the three that we'll use as the pilots. I think it's great that we'll have solutions to those standing by, but the most likely benefit is maturing the platform, particularly what regulators, what indemnifications, how you do the trial design. During Ebola, there was no clarity on that at all, and it ended up using time, a lot of resources that weren't necessary.
Ebola and Zika in some ways exposed sort of the basic, there's a protocol infrastructure that isn't even really built out yet fully, right? Just the procedures and how to react. We lost some time early in those diseases from that.
That's right. Ebola, we've had time to fully analyze, how we should have seen it sooner and think about what sort of response should have taken place. Zika, there's still some basic understanding about why it showed up there and not in Africa. Exactly what the steady state looks like. There's good work going on there, but Ebola is the one where we really have the full analysis.
Let me ask you a quick Davos question, then I'll let you go. I know it's been a long day. What's your sense of the mood, the topics of interest to everybody here this year? What's on everybody's mind, and what are you hearing and thinking about as you spend time here?
The top of many people's lists is trying to understand what the U.S. government will be doing, what its priorities are. A lot of years, the technology innovations coming out of the U.S., the internet, the impact of the internet has been top of the agenda. Now I'd say that it's still there because of all these AI advances and the good things or the rate of change that brings. But that's probably a distant number two to the political questions that even the Americans coming here don't really know the answers to.
Have you seen anything here or that excited you? Anything new? Anything you've learned or picked up here? I know you've been focused on launching this initiative, but it's a great place to network, see people, find things. Is there anything that you're taking away at this point?
Well, I get through my visits to universities great exposure to the research, new products, health understanding. Davos generally wouldn't be where I'd see a new piece of science.